This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Next up, our main event, the first ever 7-man elimination chamber match. We've got a bunch of qualification matches scheduled to get here, but when it's time to do the thing, it's Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, The Miz, Finn Balor, Braun Strowman, John Cena, and Elias. They go 40 minutes and 8 seconds. Probably not a big surprise. Roman Reigns gets the win, and the fans are sort of what they are with Roman for the last few years. 3 3/4 stars is what it got. It's an interesting finish. I think Braun Strowman was super hot a year prior to this. They're still trying to position him in a big way. He was doing all kinds of hijinks here, flipping vehicles and whatnot. And after the match, he's going to give him 2 power slams and throw him through the gimmicked pod. So quite the spectacle with Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman. What'd you think of the match? And, what'd you think of the decision to go with Roman here?
Well, I mean, this has been beat, it's like a dead horse. It's been beaten to death, and people have analyzed it and reanalyzed it and all those things. Roman Reigns is a pro. He is an asset to their company. He's a badass. He's a Samoan killing machine underneath all that gentlemanly conduct. That's what you get from Roman. He's a gentleman. He's a soft-spoken gentleman. I wouldn't piss him off. But I think he has been shoved and shoved and shoved and put in uncomfortable scenarios promo-wise that haven't allowed him to just be what he is. And you go back and you can, I don't know the number of times Roman and the Shield have switched heel, babyface, heel, babyface, heel, babyface. But I know the audience couldn't tell you that either. But they also know where a guy fits in their mind on the roster. Is he a heel? Is he a babyface? Or they also know if a guy's being shoved too hard, our audience, for some reason, just shoves back. Unless you have a case of a guy that basically came from nowhere and was told on a shoot he was too small, or he was too short, or he didn't have enough personality, like a Daniel Bryan, who the audience absolutely adored. And they got in his hip pocket and pushed him to incredible heights. Roman, it's a shame because the guy is a star. He is a megastar and should be perceived as one. I think Braun Strowman, we all know to be a monster. But you don't have to have him just do ridiculous things like pull the Tron down and flip an 18-wheeler over to show me that the guy's a monster. That goes beyond being a monster. You pick up the rear end of a vehicle and the tires are sitting there spinning. The question would be, if you push a guy and build a guy that hard and you go that far with making him supernatural, what opponent is ever going to get him hurt? And if you can't hurt him, how can you feel for him? And if you can't feel for him, how can he ever be your champion? When these things are being done for these guys, you just sit there and look and you go, you're just going to do more damage than good here. This is not plausible. For a guy to turn an 18-wheeler over, come on. So, I mean, there's a hodgepodge of things going on. They probably hit Braun with how many finishes before they got him out of there?
Yeah.
10?
All of them.
Everybody's maybe twice?
Yeah.
Does that make you feel for the guy in a positive way, or do you just go, oh, come on, enough's enough?
No, I didn't see it. If I'm honest with you, I felt like, I don't know, we're getting in the weeds and we're bouncing around a little bit, but SummerSlam 2017, Brooklyn, New York, the main event is Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, and Samoa Joe. I thought they should have went with Braun right then and put the big belt on him. And I think when they didn't, slowly but surely, it became less and less likely to happen. And now, he's got a run with the Intercontinental title, and that's not to say he doesn't have his spot, but I feel like for whatever reason, they built him up, and then Vince was just scared to pull the trigger.
Exactly. What else could it be? But in the meantime, you're making him indestructible, but he can't win the big one.
So why do it?
Bingo.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating at times, but listen, we love it, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to talk about it. We appreciate you jumping in the Wayback Machine, going back and talking with us. You saw this show live when it happened, of course. The readers of the Wrestling Observer gave it 23.9% thumbs up, 29.1% thumbs down, 47% thumbs in the middle. I probably land thumbs in the middle as well. I enjoyed the spectacle of the Elimination Chamber. It is a bit of a guilty pleasure because it can't be fun for the performers, but it was cool to see this many guys in one. It was cool to see John Cena in there. I guess it's one of those deals where you don't realize what you got till it's gone. Cause watching this back, I miss John. And I enjoyed the first ever women's, Elimination Chamber. So what say you? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle?
I just put myself in the corner of the talent, and they all busted their ass and they all worked their ass off, and ladies and gentlemen. And, even though Braun took 20 finishes, that meant all those guys that diluted their finish by having him kick out of them once or twice or whatever meant that their company people, their players, they did everything humanly possible to get Braun, who's a good dude and a good performer and got a lot of talent, to get him over without winning the match. And, Roman Reigns, I got nothing but applause for the man. He does everything that's asked for him and goes out. I've been able to witness some 20-minute Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns matches where Roman spent the entire 20 minutes getting Braun over. And that just tells you who he is and what he is. And thumbs up for me. I'm in the side of the talent. Forget about the finishes or anything else. I'm on their team.
The next night on Raw, the Universal Champion Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman were advertised. They're supposed to be here to confront the winner of the Elimination Chamber match, but they no-show, and Roman Reigns would cut a promo on his WrestleMania 34 opponent, saying that Brock Lesnar is entitled, that he hides behind his contract, which allows him to show up whenever he wants. He says that Lesnar doesn't respect the WWE, so therefore he has no respect for Lesnar, and he's going to defeat him at WrestleMania to become the Universal Champion. You were there. What'd you think of the, we're going to promote him and now he's not going to be here? Lots of fans were confused. Is this real life? Are the lines of reality and fiction being blurred? The decision to have, a quote unquote no show from Brock Lesnar on the show.
I still don't know if it was a work or a shoot. Do you?
Well, it depends on who you ask, I suppose. And that's what we enjoy here on Wrestling Podcast is breaking down what's real and what's not. Some folks I think would say it was a work and it was designed this way. Others say it was a contract negotiation ploy with Brock Lesnar. I guess, you never know.
No, you don't. And the minute you want to say, well, nobody can just no show Raw. If there is anybody, he's the guy, isn't he?
He is indeed.
There you have it.
What else is remarkable is the show that the gauntlet match has. It's the go home Raw before the elimination match. It's the longest match in WWE history. It's a gauntlet match involving Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, John Cena, Elias, Finn Balor, The Miz, and Braun Strowman. Start to finish. It's 106 minutes, 55 seconds. Can't believe that's real. Rollins' actual wrestling time over his 3 matches was 62 minutes and 16 seconds, which is likely the longest actual in-ring time on a show for any wrestler in company history since the old Bruno Sammartino, Pedro Morales match of the century, which went like 65 minutes. It's 4 seconds longer than Rey Mysterio's 2006 Royal Rumble, a marathon of a match. Ultimately, we know Braun Strowman got the win. What'd you think when you first heard we're going to do a crazy long match like that on Raw?
Well, I knew one thing, the one that you were going to put as the figurehead or the focal point or the navigator of this match being Seth Rollins was the best pick for the job. Seth he is an architect, and he is a smart guy. He's a tremendous performer, and he's a guy that gets it. He gets the business. He is put in a situation where he's overexposed too many times. I don't think in this particular situation he was overexposed because he was in there to guide everything that was going on for a large percentage of that match. And he's the most level-headed guy. He's the guy that could keep the tempo going. If something needed to be changed on the fly, Seth would recognize that and be able to fix it. If it wasn't even something that anybody else knew was going on, he would figure out a way to fix it. So that's a lot of time. That's a long time to keep an audience tuned in, that's for sure. But I guess the idea was that Seth could beat X number of opponents leading into the Elimination Chamber, which you had to do to ultimately end up winning that match. So that was, I guess, the precursor to the elimination match.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.